Hello, everyone. Welcome to part two of the Flutter workshop series. Part one, we don't talk about that. Basically, screen share didn't work very well, and Zoom wasn't being too cooperative. Hopefully, it works this time. I think it was because of Android Studio and the fact that it's very resource intensive on my computer, and I have a Mac which has only 8 gigs of RAM, so it's not the best. But enough said, let's go get into some code. So here's some pre-written code. This is kind of like what I was attempting to mess around with certain things, but ignore this. We're gonna create a new Flutter project. For this course, I'm just gonna use VS Code. And that's because I don't want to deal with screen share issues with Android Studio again. So a few things that I wrote down that we have to first deal with are, first of all, we have to import the assets library. And the second thing is that we have to do specific things with the Android version to make sure that works. This will be relevant to people who are using Android Studio and Android emulators on their devices. So apparently screen share has been paused. I'll just figure that out just a second here. Yes, because I created the new project. That's fine. Hopefully you can see my screen now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the assets folder. So guys, remember if you guys remember the assets folder that I had linked in the Zoom chat. I'm not sure if we can, these are royalty-free sounds. I'm not sure if we can link them in our, I'll put a link, I'll put a few links. There's links in the GitHub repo and there's links in the, I'll make sure that the YouTube video has links to where you can download these applications on your own. These are royalty-free sounds from the Internet Archive, but really any sound should work. It's just sounds, really. So I'm gonna take this folder here, and I know you can't see my screen. Just give me a second. I'm just dragging something here. Okay, great. So hopefully now you can see my screen, and we're just gonna exit full screen here just so I can do certain things. So I'm gonna take this folder here and drag it into assets. I'm gonna just put it into Flutter application. So hopefully that went in the right place. This is not the right place. Okay, that's fine, no problem. I'll just copy paste and put it in Finder. You'll be seeing it popping up in a second. There we go, there's assets. So that's one thing. The other thing that I wrote down that we have to take care of first is, okay, let me explain this for a second. So the problem is that the library that we're using is called Audio Players, and it's having some issues with its releasing issues now, like some sub-releases. So there's some very specific things that we need to be careful about and we need to fix. This issue isn't going to be seen in the Android version of the project, and that is why I made sure that we tested it in the I'm gonna do it in the iOS version, but I made sure to test it in the Android version just so we're clear and nothing really happens there. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my directory here, go to Android, go to app source, and build Gradle here. And this is important because, well, okay, wait. App and build Gradle. Okay, perfect. And here what we have to do is we have to take this, go to line, what did I write down? Yeah, line 38, and change this from 16 to 23. This is all we need to do for Android. Now we have to go to pubspec.yaml. This is where we take in all the dependencies. I'm gonna go here, and normally I take care of this later, but I just want to like cross this off my list and make sure I don't forget about this later. So a little about pubspec.yaml. This is where we have all the dependencies for what we're using, like all the libraries that we're using and importing for our project. So we want to make sure that we have this correct. And as I said, the library that we're using, Audio Players, is having some issues right now with its release versions. So we're going to put here under Cupertino Icons, and these are the dependencies. Make sure that there's no tab here. This should be right, like aligned with Cupertino Icons, because Cupertino Icons is a library that it's Flutter just imports on by default on its own when you do a create new Flutter app. Here we're going to have it. Just type exactly what I'm typing here. Apologies, I have a new keyboard and I'm a little not used to using it right now. Also, it's very clacky, so sorry about that. I've heard a lot of complaints about it being clacky, but I like clacky keyboards. Okay. Also, I should mention this. I've written this down in my notes before I forget. We're gonna link you guys to a video on how to do Flutter setup and like how to use set up Flutter on your computer. It's by Dr. Angela Yu. She has a course on Udemy on Flutter. I actually took this course myself. It's an amazing course. And if you like what you see here, and if you're interested in Flutter, then you can consider getting that course on Udemy. Okay, so that's all we have to do for all the administrative or the kind of making sure it works or the pre-work. Now that we have that done, we can get into coding, and I can get into like some stuff later on. So what I want to do right now is I want to talk about like how a Flutter app is made, and for that purpose, like we can also like talk about how React apps are made. Basically, you're writing some code here. In React, you'll be writing code in JavaScript. Here, you're writing code in Dart, and that code is going to be kind of like compiled and like translated somehow into iOS and Android code. And that's all you need to know. Like there's more technicalities, but I don't really want to get into them right now. This is meant to be a super quick thing. So we're going to take this, we're going to go to main.dart, take everything out. The reason is we're going to build this from scratch, and I want to take this holistic approach. You probably won't do this when you're building your own like apps, but I just want to go through it line by line just to make sure everything understands what's going to happen. Whoever's the editor, cut here, please. I just want to silence Discord. It's annoying me. This is why I never go online on Discord. It's so annoying. Okay, we're gonna start here now. Start here. So we're gonna import a package. It's gonna be from Flutter. It's gonna be called material.dart. Basically, this is if you didn't delete your code, this was the first line that showed up, and it's just when you're building a Flutter app, it's going to be a material. Most of the time, it's a material. I mean, like all the apps that I work on are material apps. I don't even know if you can do an app without material. We're going to make a main method here, and it's going to just run your app. This is cool. It's kind of like the newer features in JavaScript. You can it can just like, this is a whole function. It's a method, okay? But instead of like, most of the methods will be wrapped around in like brackets like that. But if your method's just one line, it doesn't have to be. We can leave it like this, but I just prefer this version because it's a little shorter, just one line shorter. I don't know why I prefer it. It's just is. And it needs to be, so this is, we're gonna create my app now. And it's going to extend a stateless widget. I don't really want to get into Flutter state management right now, so we're not going to. Sorry, that's only when you have a function. We're not going to do that right now. So now it's telling me that I have a problem. I'm missing a concrete implementation of stateless widget.build. So we're gonna fix that because it's inheriting from stateless widget the class. So we're gonna fix that right now. We're gonna create this build method. And it's an override thing, but we're not gonna throw that error. We're gonna actually build it right now. So we're gonna return a material app. We're gonna return this. So this is our app. What are we gonna have in this app? Well, we're gonna have a title. It's gonna be a soundboard app using Flutter. If you want, you can also put a hello world here because this may also be your first time learning Dart. And so hello world is a tradition. Why don't we do that? Okay, so so I guess we're going back here and we're just gonna print hello world. Bit of programming tradition. Okay, so that's our soundboard app using Flutter. We're gonna select the theme here. We don't have to, because it's gonna like by default pick a theme of dark light mode, but I just like the dark mode theme. We have a lot of jokes going on about like dark mode not like or light mode burning my eyes, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna create a home. Okay, so just to make this clear right now before I forget, material app is like basically it's something that you can use. It's like a class, and it has all these properties that you can use to mess around with. And title is one of those properties, theme is another one of those properties, and home is a third property that we're using. For the purposes of this app, we're not going to be using anything else. We're going to keep it simple. Scaffold is another class. We're just gonna scaffold is a widget actually, and it has more properties inside it, and we're going to be exploiting these properties to build a very simple app. So we're going to give it an app bar. And I'm going to, at this point, like at some point, I'm going to launch an intermediate version of the app just to show you what we're having right now. So just deal with me for a second. So app bar, we're going to return another app bar, which is a pre-built function or class in or widget in Flutter. It's very convenient because like app bar, or theme data. Oh, and title, actually, this is just a string. So app bar is going to contain a child, or rather a title, and it's going to be a text widget, which is going to contain like, I don't know, my first Flutter app. Hopefully this is true for people who are not me, because this is not true for me. And we can actually style this text if we want to, but I don't want to right now. We'll get into that later. So we have the app bar, right? Now we're going to give our scaffold a body widget or a body property, and it's going to be, I'm just going to wrap everything in center. I like to do that unless there's a specific reason I don't have to. I just put everything in center. My friend tells me it's annoying when I work with him on a project, but I mean, he just deals with it. So the child of the center widget is going to be a column widget. And actually, Rob, the sponsor, the workshop director, Rob, he was telling me that it's nice that in Flutter you can just put everything, like if you want to center everything, just put it in a center widget. Which is, yes, I admit that is very nice and very convenient. So now the center widget has a child. Okay, so some widgets have this child property. The center widget has a child property. The center is just going to literally center everything, but what it's going to center is the stuff that you put in it, and what you put in it gets the child property or is its child. If I was more artistic or if I was more visual, I would draw out a representation for you, but I am not, so I'm not going to. But I'm going to enjoy my time on this beach right here on the Zoom call. I just talk a lot. So, oh, no, I don't want to make a main method. So here we have a main axis alignment property, which is just like the main axis of the column widget is going to be the y-axis and or the vertical axis, and we're just want to like we're just telling it like how you should align things. And again, this is what's really cool about Flutter, that you can just tell it like the properties and the classes that you get assigned to those properties are often named the same thing, which is amazing. So cross-axis alignment. Oh, we're going to build our own widget, so this will be a little clearer in a little while. And we're going to also give a cross-axis alignment, and we're going to make it stretch. So the reason for this we'll get into in a little bit. And since this is a column widget, it can have multiple things stacked on top of each other, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a column widget with things stacked on top of each other, and these are its children. And I'm just specifying the type of children it's going to have, which are widget types. You don't have to. I just like doing it that way. Okay, so now at this point, actually, you know what? I'm just going to comment this out, and we're going to look at like what the app looks like right now. So I'm going to stop sharing, launch a simulator, and then in the interest of time, so okay, so Flutter build takes a while. Like, I mean, not Flutter build, Xcode build takes a while. It takes like a minute or two. So in the interest of time, while the Flutter build is going on, I will be kind of working and like making the app look better. Here, I'm gonna stop my share and I'm gonna share the whole screen. There's a bunch of stuff here that I don't want people to see. Also, you can see my very unorganized desktop. I'm going to tile this kind of. Okay. So hopefully you can see what I just did, and we're gonna launch this. So here on the debug console, we'll be able to see what it's doing. While it's doing that, I'm gonna start like typing a bit more. We don't have to. I just want to because this will take like a minute. So while this is doing that, I'm just gonna keep typing. Again, as I explained, I'm just gonna tell it to like make some widgets. It's children, and these widgets will be kind of wrapped around in an expanded widget. Again, the expanded widget has a child property. So I'm gonna make like 2 or 3 of these. Let's launch, and there's a few problems it's having. That's because the expanded widget needs to have a parameter child, but this is the version that's being built right now, so it shouldn't have an issue. Oh, right. I should, I suppose, at this point, talk about what the app we're building is. I kind of gave like a demo of the app in the live Zoom session, but I suppose I should do that right now because people must have forgotten. So I'm gonna comment this out. Let's take a look at because I don't want it yelling at me. Oh, also Xcode build is done. So let's take a look at this assets folder while this is taking its while to launch. So the assets folder has a bunch of sounds. It has 5 sounds. Also, it launched, so we're gonna like wait for this. Also, you see the hello world thing. So you guys have done all the requirements for your first thing to do in the programming language Dart. Yay! Okay. So here's a bunch of sounds. We're gonna make like a soundboard where like once you press a button, one of these sounds like sounds, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna get on with it. So this expanded widget needs a child property. What do we make this child as? It's the child is, I'm gonna make it as a gesture detector because when you press something, it needs to be able to detect that you're pressing the button. So that's what the gesture detector does. And it has this like properties that on tap. So this is convenient. On tap, the gesture detector can do whatever, but it's not just like whatever you tell it to do, but it's not just on tap. You can also do on double tap down, on blah, 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 all this stuff. All this stuff. So it's convenient. We could have also used the flat button, but I wanted to give you guys a sense of like what your what custom styling is. So we're gonna make a function to do when it does on tap for the sake of so this was an anonymous function which I just made, but we don't have to do it that way since we're just gonna import the audio playing library right now. A package, it's gonna be audio players. And so let's go to Safari right now. Okay, and go to pub.dev. Here you'll see all the libraries, and now I want an audio player. I already have it imported, but I just want to show you what it is. And you see like audio player is a 94 popularity points, and audio players is a 98%. So we'll just go with the better popularity. And what we want to do is we want to, like normally what you do is you just copy this and put this in pubspec.yaml. But the reason we didn't do this time is because the managing, like the package management issues that I went over. Like basically it just doesn't work on Android on 0.17.17.2 version. So that's why I went back to 0.17.17.0 and be sure to take off the caret. I'll go over this again. Be sure to take off this caret you see, because what that means is it's going to be this version or any version above this. But we want specifically and only that version. That is why we didn't put the caret in there. So we wanted to play something from local. So local storage, a local file, we want it to play. So specifically, we wanted to play a local asset. So local assets, let's see. We're going to use the audio cache class to see below. Okay, so the audio cache class is here. And there's a bunch of issues right now, and this is what we had to figure out. Like keeps hanging in Apple's M1 emulator, and like the Android version also was not working, Kotlin errors, that kind of stuff. This is why we had to like go back a few versions. So just know that. But if we look at the documentation here, all we have to, where's the, yeah, there we go. So all we have to do is we have to create an audio player. Well, actually, yeah. We have to create an audio player, but the thing is we were looking for an audio cache. Yeah, so there we go. So for local assets, see audio cache class, which is below. Okay, so let's look at audio cache class. The full documentation here. I don't have to keep running around. Okay, so here we are. So we create an audio cache player or as a local variable, and then we tell it to play. Apparently, so it's nice that the file structure is like, this will play explosion in your assets folder. So I don't need to tell it to do like go to assets/explosion. It just understands that we have to go to explosion asset explosion.mp3 in the assets folder. So that's convenient. Let's go back to this. So I'm going to create a function here called void play sound. And I'm going to take in the file name as a property here. Okay. So it's going to be, what was it again? We're going to do a final player. It was something about audio cache, right? You can go back and look at the documentation. I don't need to because I remember it. And then we're going to tell player.play, and it's going to be file name. Awesome. So, so we're going to do a file name here, and it's going to call play sound. But it's having issues because it wants the file name. So for now, we're going to keep local assets. We're going to figure this, like for the more experienced programmers, you know what's going to happen after this. We're going to like make this so that like you can just pass it as a variable to stuff. But for now, we just wanted to do it this way. All right, so what issue are you having now? Okay. All right, that's a bit weird, but that's fine. If that's the issue it's having, what we can do is we can make an anonymous function, and we can in that function tell it to play sound, and whatever the name of the file we have. So we have the name file called dog.mp3. We're gonna pass this. Oh my God, can't type today. Okay, what issue are you having right now? Okay, you want a comma. All right, fine, let's give you a comma. So now in this gesture detector, again, gesture detector is just like something that just detects gestures. It actually needs something concrete on the screen that you can use to detect gestures, because otherwise it's just something weird going on. So we're going to build a material widgets inside this as a child. We're going to give it a color property. So since it's the first thing on top, why don't we give it a nice and shiny yellow color? Please don't hate me for that. But it's shiny and it's like morning time, so I just wanna make it nice. Okay, so all right, so we have this color property which is gonna make it yellow. Let's give it another child, because like again, this is just something. I'm gonna make it a center, because so this is another thing. I like this is just a personal style thing. I like to wrap things in center all the time. Probably not the best thing to do, but whatever. And this thing will have a child, but in this case it actually works, because you'll see what I'm going for in a hot minute here. And it's gonna contain a dog sound thing. All right, so we have this here. We're gonna hot reload. Okay. Oh, right. Oopsie. Oopsie daisy. Okay, so let's do this again. Performing hot restart. Yay. And okay, so it's having some issues here. Unable to load asset dog.mp3. I don't know why it had that issue. Okay, well, you get to see me debug this. Okay, unhandled exception, unable to load asset slash. Oh, that's because I'm stupid, and you get to see that. I should have written this down in my notes. So But it's good. You get to learn this way because Flutter doesn't automatically know what you're looking for, right? So you have to tell it like, these are my dependencies. So in Flutter here, under uses material design / true, we're going to tell it like what assets we're using. That way the assets, like the whatever libraries that are using assets actually know. So I just put this here, which basically tells it that I'm importing any assets under this. So that's good. Also, let me switch audio from like my headphones to audio output from my MacBook speaker. This way, not only
Okay, so perfect. Now we have this. Also, screen share probably suspended because it's mad at me because I opened my MacBook again. So let's go to the call. Stop sharing. Okay, and this will hopefully be edited out, like this issue here. I'm gonna bring this stuff here. Don't want to be full screen. Okay. So now I'm going to do this and this. Alright, awesome. So now we're gonna play this. Yeah, I think I need to do hot dish start again because yay! It worked. Awesome. So now we're gonna finish this thing for all of them and then kind of wrap up. So first thing is that like this dog sound text is white in color, and that's not great, right? Because oh dang, I forgot to show my screen. Haha. Oopsie, sorry. So I'm gonna just do this. So there we go, it works, yay! That is a very nice dog. But the problem is that like, this text is kind of white on a yellow background. It's not excellent. So we could, change the color of the background, but we could also style this text. Let me show you how to do that. So text very conveniently has a text style property, and a class called text style is used for that. Very nice. So there's things you can change, like font size. I'm gonna make it like 20 pixels. 20 pixels. Okay, then what else can we do? Well, we can color. Like we need it to be black in color. So we do it another color. And we'll also give a font weight. All right, there we go. So just so you guys know, the reason why I specifically added the center property for the text is because if I didn't, the text would do that. Some text would be on top of the, like close to the app bar, but it isn't because I didn't do that. So now it's, okay, the more experienced programmers will kind of cringe at this. But we're gonna say this in the app. Let me see if it's not. What is the called Flutter application too? Whatever. I'll figure that out. I'll do another run while this is happening. Well, actually, let me just style this and then we'll do a run. As you can see, I have a bunch of like applications here that I kind of worked on. So we're gonna take this. we're gonna copy paste it, but the problem is that when you copy paste stuff like this all the time, it's not the best. So we're gonna refactor the code. Just give me a second here. Alright, so you can see this little like light bulb thing here. It's also there in Android Studio, by the way. So we're gonna extract this widget, and it's like created this new widget, and automatically included this new widget here. Now we need to tell it what you can change and what you cannot change. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take this out, like the super key and all that. Okay. So what I want the string name to be, or the file name to be encoded. So I don't have to just try that. And I want it to be instantiated from, I want it to be like people to call it when you get it. Also, I want to make this, I'm going to call this button widget. This is something that I made in the original repo. Maybe not, button widget. And we're going to tell it like the file name. File name is going to be .head then I have to do that. So first let me just fix this. Well, we probably want this text here to be kind of custom. We don't really want it to be, you know, so we're just gonna, we're also gonna input this one. I'm gonna call it internal text. I probably called something else in the GitHub repo, but we'll just show you this here. Internal text. Okay. Also keep in mind that the colors that we're going to make these buttons will differ from what I do them in the original repo, because I'm not looking at that one. But the UI is going to look really close. Also, we probably don't want everything to be yellow, so we're going to also input the color. Final color, and we're going to call this color. Okay, so this is just color. Awesome. And we're also going to just like make this color instead of that. We're also going to make this color instead of color reading. Okay. So let's this way now. Now we're going to tell it text is going to be the internal text property is going to be dog sound, and the color is going to be yellow. And this way, it looks a lot more nicer. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy paste it 5 times, and just change the placement to the left, and that'll be another project. Also, we're going to just like take this thing and we're going to like put it in a different thing. So now after that, we have cat sound effect. I should probably have renamed these MP3 files to something else. That's on. We're going to make this orange. I guess we're going for this whole like warm color palette. After cat, we're going to have crash.mp3. This order is, you can make this order whatever you want. I'm just arbitrarily picking things. Not arbitrarily because I have a very special sound effect there, but I'm gonna make this red. And I guess then after that we did the MLG airplane MP3. Be sure to like keep these things in mind. Like the file name has to match exactly with what it is. And then sound. Well, we have two air hands, so MLG air hand sound. And I guess we can make this kind of purple. And this one's going to be blue in that case, I think. And this is finally dot loaded. So I'm going to run this now. And while this is running, we're going to just like refactor it, and that'll be the end of this lesson. Hopefully it wasn't like too much. I had like these grand ideas of like integrating Firebase functionalities into like the first thing, but this is really nice and simple. I actually really struggled with come up with something simple. And Albert, who was in the team, also in the dev team, he's a mobile director, he recommended why don't we just do this, so this is what we're doing, it's a really good idea. While that's happening in the debug console, you can see that it's running. I will wait for it to finish, and then we're going to just do some import export stuff, and that's it. So we're going to wait a little bit. Okay, Xcode we're done. Should launch any time. There we go. Okay, awesome. Oh, did I not? Oh, haha. So you see what happened here? Everything is still played just the browser. It's not happening on the browser now. You use this to scan it. But the thing is, we actually need to like put file number. People who caught that were really smart. And let's say we're just going to do a hot restart here. There's a dog sound. That is correct. Yes, cat sound came. And this is the crash sound. I'm going to keep the other two kind of reserved for if something. Yeah, and now what we're going to do is this last air horn we're going to launch when we're done with the thing. Okay, so so now in this button widget, we're going to take this code, so the class button widget stuff, copy it, cut it, paste it here. There's a bunch of errors now. There's a plethora of problems, and it's because it doesn't know what things are. So we're going to fix that. First of all, we're going to import material. Actually, for one thing, it's not using this anymore, so let's take that and put this in here. And for another thing, it's going to use material.write, so let's take that. Some things about the Matthew route I really don't know. Okay, so this part is done here, but now it's still giving me 5 problems, and it's because it doesn't know, main.write doesn't know what that music is. So we're going to import that. What did I call this one? That is a Flutter application 2? Yeah. Probably should have picked a better name. Um, I just like keeping things consistent. This way, what's the problem? Oh, really? Really? Well, okay. Normally VS Code recommends what the name is, but it really doesn't want to. So today I'm just gonna keep it this way. Oh, okay. And that's it. The project's done. And now we're gonna play the last sound, the best sound, the most awesomest sound for the commemorate the completion of this project. So congratulations everyone if you're still here with me. This is really good. I'm sorry. We saw the sound, we heard the sound, and we just had to put it in. So I'm gonna play this again for you guys. It's become an internal meme between me and Arjun. But that's all for this project. Um, thank you all. Uh, Night Hacks really appreciates all of you. Apply for the dev team. Friday is the last. I think Friday is the last day of the applications. Actually, can you edit this out, Miss Editor? Whoever's editing this, Mr. Editor, this Miss Editor, whatever. Because I'm not sure. Like, whenever people see it, like 2 years into the future, they'll be confused about when to apply for the dev team. What's this Friday? This person's talking about. Is this guy gone crazy or something? I don't know. Let's just do that. Thank you. Bye bye.